away from the universe, back to Tesla again. And so you said that...
Got a feedback on the ground here.
Back on ground. And so you said that our expertise is in making things better, faster, cheaper than other people. And when I started investing in Tesla, when we started investing in Tesla, you were telling us that it's the machine that makes the machine. That's most important. The machine that makes... So you were into machine learning, machine technology then, which is 15 years ago. And now the average car, I think, is 50 minutes or 50 seconds, 40 seconds, 60 seconds, and we're now 35 seconds. Every 35 seconds, the car rolls off. And then you say that we're going to get down to 10 seconds, and you said it's a possibility we can go to 5. 5 seconds, every car is rolling off a line. How's that happen?
I certainly see a path to achieving a roughly 5,000 millisecond cycle time, or 5 seconds, which is that's only really walking speed. That's like sort of a fast walk. 1 meter per second is a fast walk. The car is less than 5 meters long. So 5 second cycle time, the cars will be exiting the line at walking speed. So you can run away from them. It's not going to be like they're coming out like bullets or something. But as a rough rule of thumb, it's 10,000 minutes in a week. If you run a 24/7 operation, and you get let's say 10 cars per minute, you've got 100,000 cars a week.
But the question is, how come we're able to do this? Do other people just not care? Or they think that, gee, if I do something, if I have this idea and we try to implement it and it doesn't work, then I'm not going to get promoted, or I can get fired, or I'll get blamed. And if it works, then I'm going to have to do a lot of extra work that I wouldn't know how to do if it didn't work. So why don't other people have, a mindset of making things better? Why, the Chinese, they've been great at copying us. And in some instances, probably even done better than us after they've copied for the first time. But how come, do you think, that other people haven't been able to make the advances we have? And even the guy from Ford just recently said, gee, there's people in China wouldn't give us compliments, but he said the people and the Chinese have copied us. Those people in China are doing great, which is really a compliment to us, because the reason they're doing great is because of us. So why don't other people do this? Why doesn't he do that?
Most companies are incrementalists. The management team wants to do, 5%, maybe 10% better than last year, as opposed to take big risks that could fail. Obviously, I don't have a problem with taking big risks.
Yeah, I'd say.
And I like to use the tools of physics to analyze things. And when I was in the factory one night, I was looking at the factory, and I was like, this could be much more efficient. It could be much faster. Just rough math, trying to calculate the volumetric efficiency of the factory. So if you divide the factory into cubic meters and say how many cubic meters are doing something useful, and it's a surprisingly small percentage. The volumetric density is not very good, and then the speed of the cars and the parts moving is quite slow. Generally limited by the speed at which people can, say, attach brake lights or a seat or something like that. So if you densify the factory and improve the volumetric efficiency, which is helpful for production efficiency, because then things have less distance to move. Just like a chip, you densify the circuits in a chip to make it more efficient. You can think of a factory as like a chip. How do you make a chip faster? Well, you bring the circuits closer together, make them smaller, and you increase the clock speed.
So Robin told me that you told her once that I think of myself as a bit. And if I'm a bit, how would I like to travel? That makes sense.
A bit or an atom. If it's the software, or if I'm on a ship, I say, what's the journey of the bit? What am I doing? And if this journey doesn't make sense, I need to fix it. And if the journey of the atom in the factory doesn't make sense, I need to fix it.
So when you say you're working on weekends, I spend all my Sundays working on a chip. What does that mean? What do you do?
It's Saturdays, but sometimes Sundays, actually. Recent weekends has been Sundays too. Just the AI5 chip, which is going to be a great chip. All of Tesla hinges on that chip. That's the chip that will go into our next generation of self-driving cars, and it's also essential for the Optimus robot. So that chip program was in bad shape. It wasn't closing because it's quite an ambitious chip design, and it really wasn't on a path to success. And then we also had the Dojo program, which was also doing okay, but not on a path to be competitive with NVIDIA. So I collapsed the two programs into just one program, which is to get everyone focused on AI5 chip, which is essential. Continue to use NVIDIA for training, but we need the AI5 inference chip, which is a very powerful chip, but it's also a very low power chip. So it doesn't use a lot of power. So its performance per watt is extremely good. We think it's probably going to be at least 2 to 3 times better than NVIDIA in performance per watt at the inference level in the car and the robot. And I don't know, 10% of the cost of an NVIDIA chip, something like that. So these are very important numbers to achieve. And I had to get the chip program back on track, so put an immense amount of time into it. And at this point, I have the entire physical design of the chip laid out in memory. I can visualize the whole thing.
But when you're talking about chip manufacturing, you say we might have to build some kind of a giant fab. Presumably, we would have a partner with TSMC or with Samsung. We wouldn't do this by ourselves. And those guys have been doing this we would do it by ourselves. And these are things that cost $20 billion, $30, $40 billion. And where do the people come from to do this? How could we not have partners? Is your thought to have a partner, to do it by ourselves the ultimately 10 years? There's not going to be enough chips in the world to accomplish what we're trying to do.
Yeah, first of all, I have immense respect for TSMC and Samsung. And we've worked with both TSMC and Samsung at Tesla and at SpaceX. So TSMC and Samsung are great companies, and we want them to make our chip as quickly as they can and scale up to as high as possible volume that they're comfortable doing. But it doesn't appear to be fast enough. When I ask how long will it take from start to finish to get a new chip fab built, they tell me 5 years to get to volume production. I'm like, 5 years to me is an eternity. My timelines.
To me too, by the way.
1 year, 2 year, and at year 3, scale it reels to infinity. So I can't even see past 3 years. So then I'm like, damn, okay, this is not going to be fast enough. So now, if they change their minds and say, yeah, they're going to go faster and they want to provide us with, 100, 200 billion AI chips a year in the time frame that we need them, that's great.
But how could they not, when they know that we're demand and we are going to use the product in our own product? How could they not want to be our supplier? Or how could they not want to be partners with us? I don't understand.
No, well, they are partners. We're using both TSMC
I mean, to
and
really
Samsung.
expand capacity tremendously. Why don't they do that?
From their standpoint, they are, because we'll be using TSMC Taiwan, TSMC Taiwan, TSMC Arizona, Korea, Samsung, and the Texas-backed Samsung. So we've got 4 fabs going, from their standpoint, they're moving like lightning. I'm just saying that nonetheless, it would be a limiting factor for us. They're going as fast as they can. From their standpoint, there's pedal to the metal. They've just never had someone without a company without sense of urgency. So that's like, man, it might just be that the only way to get to scale at the rate that we want to get to scale is to build a really big fab. Or be limited in output of optimized and self-driving cars by the AI chips.
Obviously, you're not going to do that.
Those are 2 choices.
To go to FSD, we don't have too much more time, but FSD, full self-driving, we're making these tremendous breakthroughs, it seems, and you said recently that you didn't want to expand capacity for making cars until you were convinced that that was the case. You are now convinced that's the case. And
Yes.
again, here, we're making these exponential leaps in these cars. And you said that a very large percentage of people who've actually paid for full self-driving don't use it, have never tried it before.
Yes, that's pretty well.
How are we doing?
Try something, you want to try it type of thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So we're now kind of insisting with customers for safety reasons that we demonstrate full self-driving, because the numbers are unequivocal at scale that with now over 10 billion miles driven, that it's 4 times safer on full self-driving than not. So it's actually a big improvement in safety. And so at this point, we're just insisting that we at least demonstrate self-driving to customers so they know how to use it and turn it on for safety reasons.
So full self-driving drives just like a person, as opposed to having to code to look for every circumstance that would happen. And you had this is a fire truck in front of us with a bicycle attached to it, or someone walking his dog while he's driving along. They have to identify everything with a code. What AI does, what we do, is as I understand it, is to make sure that it's just like us. Is that fair?
Yes. The key to achieving full self-driving, unsupervised full self-driving, much safer than a human, is improving the AI software in the car. We're confident that the AI hardware, that's a chip that we designed, currently made by Samsung, is capable of achieving a safety level unsupervised, meaning if you're asleep in the car, at least 2 to 3 times that of the average driver, maybe more. And then with AI5, we think you can achieve probably a 10x improvement in safety. So these are really big deals. I mean, I think these are very profound things that I'm saying here. And I really encourage people to go out there and try Tesla self-driving and see for yourself. And you can just go to any Tesla store; they'll show it to you. It's not a secret.
See, everyone here, you're benefiting if you try this and then buy it. But once you try it, you're going to buy it. So you should try it. So I want to close on what I mentioned this morning on CNBC,